Dance, dun, dun, dun. Rant, 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 rant.
And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also as well, of course, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Go ahead and get the latest news and tidbits and advice from all of us, the Lakers Fast Break, and of course, my good friend Chris Ardieri from the Domination Sports Nation. We all come together to go ahead and share our thoughts on NFL Week 8. So go ahead and hear them out at Inside Sports Fantasy Football. You know, Joe Soro has a great company you need to support today, and that's Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Plus, he has a double life. He leads a double life as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Of course, our good friends, Jamie Sweet, a.k.a. Yami Swoot, and a Laker Tom, the Lakerholics, who will be on the air tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Go ahead and check them out every day at Lakerholics.com. Plus, give it a big shout out to Empire Jeff TV. He had a stream on earlier this evening, so go ahead and give that a check. Plus, also Lakers in 5 and the John McGallion channel. Speaking of YouTube channels you need to check out, go ahead and make sure you've got this one subscribed to. Because if you do, or you like the Facebook page, you will go ahead and get the latest notifications on when we go live with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. What's up, Search and Destroy? What's up, Intel Wild? Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Great to have you here on a Friday night. Thought we'd go ahead and check in with you. The first couple games for each teams have already come and gone by, so we thought we'd make some very early NBA observations. Also want to update you on what's going on with Jarred Vanderbilt. A little bit concerning there. He has now been put off for another 2 weeks to be evaluated at that time because of his bursitis in his heel, which is not a good sign. This could be a pesky little injury that bothers him for the rest of the season. Let's hope that's not the case, but we'll see in 2 weeks how he is. But be that as it may, the Lakers are 1-1 heading into a Sunday evening tilt against the Sacramento Kings, who just lost to the Golden State Warriors. And here today, a couple of guys who checked out the game, which you could have followed along with on playback, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. First up is a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out in his double life as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Some observations you have in the first few games of the season, the first 2 games to be exact. Let me know your thoughts in regards to maybe the Lakers that you have or some of the NBA goings on at this point in time.
Sean and I spent 6 hours together today, Sean, watching the Celtics play and win their game, and then of course Golden State going into Sacramento and beating Sacramento. Things seem to be playing out almost exactly how they played out last year. Boston's winning their games, Denver's winning their games. I think they won their game by 4 in Memphis.
Not definitive, that's for sure.
Memphis is now 0-2. I picked Memphis as the surprise team that would not make the playoffs because I'm sensing some things. And this is me saying that getting Marcus Smart was a smart move. But there's something weird going on over there. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard anything. It's just a feeling I have. I don't know what it is. Something weird is going on in Memphis. I think something's going to come out shortly about it. But, Sean, it was a 3-point fest, just like every other damn game. Boring. The crowd in Boston was very loud, though. I'll give them that. But I don't know. I'm enjoying the NBA season. Obviously, we got the Lakers playing. We got stuff to do. We're talking about the Lakers, and these games matter. So, from that respect, I'm excited. And I'd like to see the Lakers get something out of this game that happened tonight against Golden State, and understand that Sacramento can't play defense. And De'Aaron Fox is their only Fox. So I would love for them to go into Sacramento on Sunday and have a complete game, because they haven't had one yet. Get a complete game, get a win there, and I strongly believe that they can win in Orlando or play Orlando in LA the next night and win that, and start the season 3-1, even though you've been kind of discombobulated a little bit. And that's kind of how I'm looking at the NBA season so far here in the first few days.
One thing I want to ask you, though, are you concerned with the latest news on Jarred Vanderbilt, that it could be a situation where this could be ongoing for the rest of the season?
Well, I've had a small bursitis on my Achilles heel from shoes, and I don't know what kind of bursitis he has. It sounds like it's something pretty significant. I don't know if they can drain it. I don't know. I never, mine would always just go away. It usually would happen when I wore dress shoes. I used to wear a suit every day for almost 6 years. So, those shoes tend to do, rub a certain way and create that kind of issue. And obviously with basketball being, what it is, you can see how that becomes an issue. Jarred Vanderbilt I just need to see Jarred play for a few weeks and I'll know what he's going to do. That's really all I need to see. If I want to see if he fails, if it's going to carry throughout the entire game, because that's what we saw happen towards the end of the year last year. And obviously he didn't get really to play that much, or at least as much as we had hoped he would. We were hoping he would be some kind of a Trevor Ariza for us, and he was in certain aspects, but he couldn't do it in money time. And it would have been nice to have him do that, especially in Denver, because he can obviously play defense, but his offense was so horrid, not just from 3-point line. He couldn't make a layup to save his life. And a man who's 6'9" and can't make a layup or make a basket near the rim with just a little bit of resistance is a problem. So I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say about Jarred Vanderbilt. I got to see him play, and I'm hoping in 2 weeks he will.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is some very early NBA observations, and also here, who is there with Joe at playback.tv/ Lakers Fast Break. Good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out every time that he's here. He's the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and stop on by with some early NBA observations. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Sean, great to have you here. I think we'll probably get into the Lakers here in a few minutes. I know that Rodell sent us a little bit more concerns about the way we speak about the Lakers, which we always take in. But again, as the fact that this is a land of free will, we always will go ahead and still share how we share here at the Lakers Fast Break.
All right, I'm going to address this one more time.
Okay, here we go. But thank you, Rodell, for watching and sending in to Lakers Fast Break at Yahoo.
D'Angelo Russell has sucked monkey nuts the first 2 games. And if you really need a play-by-play of those monkey nuts, I guess I could do it and show you the footage, but you're not gonna. You cannot logically tell me that he's done anything well the first 2 games. Okay, his job is to make shots and also make a nice bounce pass or a skip pass when you're on a 3-and-1 break to the man ahead of him. If he's not confident enough to make that pass, that's a problem. And not only that, he had a play where he had the fast break, got the ball, and guess what? Relented. Let the defense get back and set, and then guess what? We didn't get any points out of that. And that cannot happen. We don't have time for that. Going 1 for 7 from 3 ain't gonna work. Do you understand? Do you understand what that means?
He said that, he's been trying on defense.
Trying. You know what? I'm trying to drive NASCAR. How's that going to work? I can go to the track right now in Fontana. How's that going to work if I try? What the hell is try mean? What the hell's try going to do for you?
Players are still blowing by. Players still blowing by.
We need do. We don't need try. Okay? I don't give a damn about try. You know, Yoda, your boy said that, by the way. I'm not the only one that said it. Do or do not. There is no try. So we've had enough of this discussion with D'Angelo Russell. He doesn't make shots. He's useless. And right now, Austin Reeves is getting exploited on defense because of his play during the summer. We have to figure out how to get that out of. If Austin Reeves doesn't make shots, he's useless too at this point. So make your damn shots. I don't want to hear about he's trying. I don't give a damn about trying. This is a championship or bust team. Okay? You know who did? You know who tried and did? LeBron James. He tried and did. And unfortunately, we have to play him to try and do because no one else can do. They're too busy trying. Keep your trying. And you know where you can put it, okay? We're done with trying.
I want to make sure that the quote is correct. He was active on D.
Okay, right. You know, go ahead, Sean. I think I've made my point.
Sean, go ahead.
Gerald,
active on D.
Of course. Fair enough. That's a subjective observation. I would probably agree with the caveat. The late, great John Wooden, Gerald, we all know well, could probably repeat a lot of his quotes ad nauseum. He said, and I quote, "Do not mistake activity for productivity." Two separate things. You can be productive and active, but you can't be active and productive. You have to be productive for the active to actually mean something. And unfortunately, Gerald.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Unfortunately, what? Oh, you had yourself muted.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Joe's correct that D'Lo activity doesn't mean a whole hill of beans at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, exactly.
So I would just say that right now, he's as far as the 3-guard rotation, I would say he's the black sheep right now, Gerald.
I don't know if that's the case because all three of them right now, I've seen players, and remember last night, Phoenix Suns, okay, outside of Kevin Durant, we've talked about how they built a nice roster with the minimum salaries or in some cases, very cost-effective salaries that they have. These are not, higher upper echelon players that they're playing against outside of Kevin Durant last night. And all three are getting blown by on defense. It's not just one. It's not just two. It's all three of the guards cannot keep guards in front of them. And if these are just mediocre NBA guards that are blowing by them, what does that tell you about the Damian Lillard, Steph Curry's, Kyrie Irving's, Luka Doncic of the world? What does that tell you is, as far as the concerns that you guys might have, Sean?
Big Gerald. It's going to be a big test for those three on Sunday because you got De'Aaron Fox coming in.
Good point.
Who is, I was just mentioning it in the comments, and me and EP went back and forth with Maxey and Fox, and unfortunately we couldn't get an extended conversation, but hard to disagree with Jeff about the comparisons. Who's faster, Maxey or Fox? I will say this though, Gerald. De'Aaron Fox has a quickness, that burst that no other guard in the NBA has. A lot of guards are fast, but nobody can really has his balance of quickness and speed. And it's going to be a test for. I personally, Gerald, if I were the Lakers, I would put Austin Reeves on De'Aaron Fox. I'd start that way. I'd rather have D'Angelo Russell on Kevin Huerter. Huerter is more of a shooter, so I'd feel more comfortable with D'Lo and his length being 6'5" out there on the perimeter. I could live with Austin Reeves trying to contain De'Aaron Fox. It's an unenviable job, but I think with AD's improvement thus far throughout this season on roaming, it was a lot better in the fourth quarter. We had 7 forced turnovers, Gerald, and only 4 fouls were given. So the defense improved slightly. But it's going to be a test on Sunday because as much as they struggled today, Gerald, they've shot 91 3-point attempts through 2 games. They shot 50 against Utah and over 40 tonight. So we're going to see a bombardment of 3-point shots. So they're going to test us. Hopefully we're up to the task.
Hopefully we are indeed. But one last thing to interject in regards to the Los Angeles Lakers guards. You still have, again, issues with Vincent. You still have issues, as far as none of those 3 guys have shot the ball well coming into the season. Now, of course, Vincent's going to be a streaky shooter. That's what he's been all along his entire career, Joe. So when I get it back to you, I don't really have too much of a concern over Vincent. Some good playmaking. Let's try to play a little bit better defense. He's going to be streaky. That's just something we're going to have to live with. But D'Angelo and Austin were 40% shooters last year from behind the arc. Taurean Prince guaranteed he would be 40%. Now, mind you, he's had 1 good game shooting, 1 bad game. So neither here nor there. This team has to provide some sort of outside threat for this team to go ahead and get further along than it did last season.
It's not just one guy that needs to do it. There has to be at least 3 or 4 people doing it if you want LeBron to last the regular season without an injury.
How long is Anthony Davis going to be statistically your leader at 3-point shooting?
Hopefully 1 more game and that's it. There's Anthony Davis's job is to put fear in the offense when they get into his domain and be a problem in the paint, in and around the paint on offense. The job of the guards is to make open shots. If you're not going to play stout defense, if you're not going to play good one-on-one defense, you have to make up for it with the stuff that you're actually paid to do well, which is shoot. And Gabe Vincent has not really played well the first 2 games, and we're giving him a little bit of a break because it's a new team. He was injured. He didn't play a lot in preseason, so you give him a little bit of that. But I don't see any reason why D'Angelo Russell should be missing open shots. Austin Reeves seems to have some issues with maybe some confidence, and last year he was able to break out of it. I'm going to take a wild guess that he's probably going to break out of it at some point here. And by the way, Austin, get your haircut, please. You look like a buffoon. The other guard play, let's say, well, it's not technically a guard play, but let's say Taurean Prince. Taurean Prince had a very good first game, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately. We need more of his teammates doing that than just one guy doing it. We just, especially with Anthony Davis kind of coming up a dud in the second half against Denver. And that it's the little things, guys. We talked about game 2 and how we shot 17% from 3. If the Lakers shoot 31% from 3 or 30% from 3, which means 5 more 3-pointers, we are beating the Phoenix Suns by the number that we're supposed to beat them at. It doesn't. Five made threes doesn't sound like much in today's game. So that's the difference. Whether they were playing the second tier, third tier, a lot of times the trap games happen during the NBA season. A lot of times we underestimate the opponent and then they come out and surprise us. But what ended up happening was just like in a lot of these games, heck, just like today with Boston playing Miami. Sean, we said it again. We're like, Miami's keeping it close, but Boston's gonna towards the end they're gonna separate themselves, and that's exactly what they did. What happened with Phoenix is they came back down to earth. The Lakers separated themselves towards the end of the game, and the Lakers ended up winning. Usually, the best team wins, no matter what's going on the first 40 minutes of that game. The Lakers they're going to be playing a team that's essentially going to shoot threes the entire game. They don't know anything else. I mean, there's 90% of the teams out there do that. This one is probably the most abusive of it. So if that's the case, I highly expect you to control the boards. I highly, highly expect you to control the boards. Now, if they're going to shoot 43s and they make 20, you're going to have a problem. If they hit 50% from three, you're going to lose the game. If they shoot 15 out of the 40, it's probably what you want. But when they miss it, you're going to need to get those offensive rebounds. If you give them second chance points in those 25 that they miss and they end up scoring, let's say they get 12 of those, which is almost half, and they end up scoring on that. That's 24 points at least that you lose there. Now that number becomes a little different. Now you're talking about 45 points from three, 24 from offensive rebounds, and offensive rebound points ruins your mental focus on top of it. A lot of times it's more than just 2 points or 3 points. It's like 2.5 to 3.5 points. Remember I told you guys, and I always remind you, the Shaq dunk was more than 2 points when he would do it with authority. It drained your enthusiasm. It's almost like scoring 4 points. So I'm hoping the 2 days off allows the team to understand that we need to break out of this LeBron heavy set and please make your shots so that LeBron can only play 29 to 30 minutes on Sunday. And then I'm pretty sure he's going to play the same amount of minutes against Orlando. And I think we can beat Orlando with our guys allowing LeBron to not play as many minutes.
That better not be a trap game. That's all I say, because they're 2-0.
I think this was the trap game. I think they know that the Sacramento Kings are tough, and they know already on the back end of a back-to-back, that's not really a trap game. That's the mentality of, shoot, it's the second game on a back-to-back. We're going to be tired, but we need to play harder.
See what happens indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with the Magic Man Sean Grice. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Don't forget, you can catch all the games with us at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. If you want to hear Joe and Sean uncut, there was a lot of cutting of some cheese in there at that episode as well of the last game. Please go ahead and check us out each and every game at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. It is, for the most part, a hilarious good time. I'm telling you. You think this show is good? You got to check us out on Playback. But Sean, I go to Laker Tom on Twitter, just breezing by because I get the notifications, and one game by Christian Wood, and already Laker Tom is bowing down to the throne of Christian Wood, already saying that starting lineup needs to be changed. And I'm sure tomorrow morning, Laker Tom will have a say, and you'll hear this again. Already he wants them in the starting lineup. And there you go. It's only game 2 of the season. So, and again, when we make these observations, obviously, yes, it is, 2 games in the season, but we're already seeing some things. We're already seeing some trends. But your thoughts, my friend, on Laker Tom's latest comments on Christian Wood? Really good game. Before we anoint him the defensive stopper, let's go ahead and see this consistently first. And while you're at it, hopefully he can start to learn how to shoot again like he did before as well.
Gerald, I thought I was just going to become a shapeshifter just now when you said Christian Wood is a defensive stopper. I thought I might have been in a different perpendicular universe.
Because Laker Tom is thinking that right now.
Yes,
I will give him all of his flowers. Christian Wood played as hard a defense I've ever seen him play last night. I will give him totally 100% credit on that. But let me see him play that throughout the season, and then we'll go ahead and start throwing more flowers upon that.
Absolutely, Gerald, because Sunday will be a very good test for him. He'll be out on the floor with Dom Sabonis, JaVale McGee, Both of those guys love to attack the rim at will, and
Watch, he'll
that
take the night off defensively, and you
he
know it.
probably has.
He'll chuck up 6 or
Yes,
7
as we're
threes.
talking about this Gerald season
Yeah.
as much as I do. Yeah. Given the personnel on the other side, he's gonna have a hard time.
It's concentration. It's just like,
That's all it is with him. It's
Yeah.
focus, and
yeah.
his focus was on point. Gerald, we give flowers out here as much as we give out stench blossoms. Call it like we see it. He played very well as a
Yes.
weak side rebounder. That in and of itself is a plus. And moving forward, if it continues, sure, I could definitely see him getting more minutes. But starting right now, Gerald, absolutely, positively, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, no. If he was first in the Lakers at 3-point shooting, and he was like a blister, just completely on fire, I would say okay, I could understand the logic there, but not right now, Gerald. It's still too early, and you just I understand what Laker Tom's thinking down the road, but I think it's just there's a lot going on right now, and I wouldn't want to put another stack of responsibility and accountability in Darvin Ham's cabinet that Gerald's pretty full, and he has trouble with what's already on his plate.
I agree. I just think let's keep it where it's at right now because he's doing well, and when he's doing well, it's just something that we're going to go ahead and continue to see. Joe, I want to ask you. I mean, Christian Wood, great game yesterday. Even the fact he could not shoot to save his life, he still provided things in other ways that he rarely has throughout the entirety of his career. He's not been able to all put it all together as of yet with the Lakers, but my goodness, if he does have the focus and attention, you never know what will happen. It could be, or it could lead to a situation where you might think about putting him in the starting lineup, but not now, not yet.
I don't understand why we've already discussed this thing with Christian Wood and players that might serve a purpose depending on who they play. This is a revolving door depending on who you play. And yesterday, the Lakers needed the length that Christian Wood had to distract Kevin Durant. And Darvin Ham's job is to make sure that he sets the right lineups against the specific team he's playing against, especially towards the end of a close game, which is what this was. That's all this was. This hysteria about starting, the hard-on that people have about, oh, we need to advance this person after a 10-minute juggernaut of a performance. This is the problem with society, and it's not young people. It's not millennials. It's the short attention span people of all ages and all creeds and all nationalities, because we live in this instant gratification world. Stop doing it. Think, focus, understand what you're watching. We get on D'Angelo Russell versus going crazy about Christian Wood because this is not the first time, at least as a Laker, that we've seen this problem. And there is no other way to go. He's not going to be Alex Caruso where you know for sure he's going to play stout defense. You'll take the 5 for 13 shot night if the defense is there, or at least some kind of playmaking, i.e. Gabe Vincent. See, Gabe Vincent is the other guy that actually played terribly on offense in terms of shooting, but was able to manifest 6 assists by making the game easier for his teammates and had 0 turnovers. Watch the games, please. Focus on the damn game and understand what we're doing. Because if you understand the game and you understand what, where, and why, you will find yourself less yapping about nonsense and more yapping about actual events that are taking place. It's not that difficult. It's as easy as reading, guys, if you watch. And it's important that you watch. And if you're having problems interpreting that, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't think basketball is that difficult to understand. So that's it. It's just I am excited in terms of the season starting, and it's Laker basketball. We're able to do a show here where we can talk about legitimate games that matter. We're watching other teams play. We're seeing pretty much similarities. We're seeing teams do what they're probably supposed to be doing. And then as the season goes on, whoever stays healthier, whoever doesn't have drama, that's kind of the whole thing that's what plays out in the end. But the Lakers need to take advantage of the next two games. They got 500 between the two juggernaut West teams. So what? We'll take it. But you got to win Sunday and Monday to give yourself a little space. This is when you start doing that. Try to win 3 out of every 4 games every week. And at the very least, win 2 out of 4 every week. And then you'll see that progression go where it needs to go, and hopefully get a top 4 seed. Then you at least can start the playoffs with home court advantage in at least one of the rounds. And I think with a fresh LeBron and an AD that aren't taxed, you guys can then take it up a notch. Those guys, I trust LeBron, and I actually do trust AD in proceeding from there. We've seen it happen, so we can have confidence in that.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. It's Magic Man Sean Grice, Joe Soro, and myself, Jarred Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so today to get the latest notifications when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. Sean, I ask you this, and hello, Dodgers Every Day. I appreciate you joining us. Dodgers Everything, just like Joe. Dodgers Everything. Let me ask you this. Do you align yourself with Joe in your thinking on Dave Roberts? Just let me know in the comments when you can. The best Lakers chat room that's out there, Lakers Fast Break, if possible. It would be greatly appreciated because I know Joe Soro always has some good thoughts on Dave Roberts. That's just wanted to go ahead and ask that and throw that out there. But Magic Man, let's get you back in here, my friend. Getting back to the Lakers a little bit before we hit the NBA, although I will ask you this. When it comes to what we're seeing with the team so far, poor shooting for the most part from the outside, yet we're still 1-1. We're taking less threes. We're making less threes. We're not going to the free throw line as much. And our transition game hasn't been great. Yet we're 1-1. Should we be glad that things are like that and still 1-1?
I am, Gerald.
I'm thinking my lucky stars. I'm just
because what we're good at has been in the muck for the first 2 regular season games. Strong in transition. That transition hasn't been really strong against Denver or Phoenix. Less than 20 points in each game. The Lakers were 6 in transition points last year. However, Gerald, even with that issue and not getting the free throw line as much, they still managed to score 60 points in the paint, Gerald, which is where they need to make their bones. If we're going to have a top 10 offense at some point this year. So I'm with you. I think we should be happy with the 1-1 start. And just given the fact that it seems like everything's gumming up the works, whether or not it's the shooting affecting the offensive rebounding, which is affecting, the inability for us to play defense without fouling because we've committed 41 fouls in 8 quarters. That's not a good sign. However,
that's substantially higher than last season.
Yeah, when we're averaging, close to 20 fouls a game, that's not good, especially when Gerald has mentioned ad nauseum throughout the summer. In the first 2 games, we averaged 17 all game last year. So things have to pick up a little bit as well, Gerald, because the Sacramento Kings have gotten the line almost 50 times in 2 games as well. So they love living by the and dying by the three, and they love living and dying by the free throw line. So it's really it's kind of a polarizing matchup. It's the Lakers and Kings do a lot of the same things well. They just do it differently, except for shooting, obviously. And I she mentioned something very interesting yesterday. She didn't get a chance to elaborate on it, but that's why we have her on to expand. But she had mentioned that Calvin Booth, who's with the Nuggets, had talked about how he is not a fan of guards and wings that have overlapping skills.
This is from that Ringer interview with Kevin O'Connor. Is that not correct?
Yes, correct. So if everybody wants to check it out, it's a good read, good listen.
But then, it's one of those interviews that you have, and like, a few days later when it comes out, their assistants and Calvin Booth are saying on Denver, "Oh, no,
yes,
I didn't mean to say it like that. I didn't mean to say everything like that. I didn't mean to be I didn't mean to hurt people's feelings."
yeah, exactly, Gerald, exactly.
I just would have
So
loved to see Joe in that response at the
so
press
yeah,
conference.
ju- just as an aside, uh, a team like the Sacramento Kings are playing on Sunday. Three very different guards, very different skill sets. Their skills don't really overlap, other than De'Aaron Fox is a pretty darn good shooter when he's really hot. Gerald, Kevin Herter, born to shoot the basketball. Like Steve Novak, he'll probably be hitting threes in the retirement home when he's 85. Uh, and then Malik Monk. Monk is a different kind of combo guard. We saw it, Gerald. He could be both ground and pound and shoot the ball. So it creates a very interesting dynamic for the Lakers, right, Gerald? Because now Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves kind of do similar things. Gabe's probably the best defender out of the bunch. Austin's a little probably the best Swiss Army knife. D'Angelo's the best shooter. But everything's got to come together on that Sunday because you're going to have to match bullet for bullet with the Kings, and their guard play is very good, very sound.
Now, is it, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Steve Novak play defense like he was 85?
He did. He
Yes,
did.
I just want to make sure that
he did. He
yes.
did. God bless him, but Steve could shoot the basketball, Gerald.
That he could indeed. Joe, before I go ahead and turn it over to you on a question for the NBA, Dodgers everything with the awesome super chat, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Truly appreciate you dropping the super chat on it. He says Dave Roberts is a good coach. He just lets analytics get in the way. Let's go Lakers. So your thoughts on that, my friend? You've been
Dave
very
Roberts,
specific on Dave Roberts.
Dave Roberts is a spineless slug. The Dodgers will never win another championship with him as manager. So take it for what it's worth. He is he's a stool with no balls. Nothing. Can't inspire a honey badger. Honey badger would just lay there looking at him. Until you get rid of him and get somebody with some brains, with some balls, you're not going to see another World Series with that guy. Sorry. There's nothing good about Dave Roberts as a manager. That guy has had pitching staffs up the yin yang. He's not had pitching staffs. He's had 30 home run hitters, 4 at a time. He's had every piece of freak and advantage and talent and stars that you can have. You've won 1 World Series. I know we got jacked in 17 and we got jacked in 18 by Boston. I don't know why they don't get more flack for their cheating ass. But 19, 21, 22, 23 should have produced at least 1 more. Really 2 with the talent they had.
Want to give a shout out. Intel Wild agrees along your line, saying that Dave Roberts blows chunks. Let's go Lakers. Appreciate the super chat from Intel
1
Wild.
playoff win. 211 wins plus 1 playoff win the last 2 years. That's not a good manager. That's not a good coach. That's trash. He's trash, needs to go. He doesn't go, Dodgers will never win a World Series. The reason why we won in 2020, 2 reasons. Corey Seager had a lot to do with his run. He had an amazing playoff run, was MVP in NLCS, was an MVP in the World Series. But if it wasn't for Mookie Betts' glove against Atlanta twice, 2 unbelievable defensive catches that would have ended those games, and Mr. Cash in Tampa Bay pulling a Dave Roberts. The irony in that. Kevin Cash taking out a pitcher who was destroying our lineup early because of analytics, and they end up losing, doing what Dave Roberts does. You can blame Friedman, you can blame all. I don't want to listen to it. When you're the skipper, that's why they call you the skipper, okay? You're the skipper, you're in charge. I've been to the games. I don't see a call that looks like Andrew Friedman going, put this guy in. You're there. You're watching the game. Where are your instincts? Where's your perfect moment where you can make some motivation or something? What do? I don't know. Motivation, I guess. Every Dodger looks like a pile of trash when the playoffs start. Why? Where's the life? You watch Will Smith try to go at bat. I fall asleep. This is a playoff game. So what are you doing there in the dugout? Sitting there. That's all I see him do. Spitting everywhere.
It's got to be looking at his analytics.
Maybe if you focused more on telling Will Smith to grow a pair, your on base percentage and your slugging percentage keeps doing this every year. What's going on there? Or maybe go talk to the players up above. Maybe do a couple trades to get rid of the deadheads in there. I don't know. That's all I got. That's all I got on that. It's a pathetic.
And actually, Dodgers everything agrees with you on that aspect too. Yeah. So and Intel, of course, agrees.
I appreciate that, guys. And I watched more baseball last year than you could imagine. I watched at least 130 games. I mean, I watched them from beginning to end. I was invested last year. 111 wins. Urias, you had. Yeah, no. It's not gonna change until that guy's gone. Bring in somebody that actually knows what the hell he's doing when it matters.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Big shout out to everybody that's been such a great part of our chat. Obviously, Dodgers everything. Thank you so much for your kind offering of the super chat. Also, as well, Intel Wild also dropping us a super chat as well. Mission 24, Magic Man, gave us a big shout out as well. He just worked 3 15-hour shifts in a row. It's nice to finally chill with the LFB. Appreciate what you guys do here. Thanks so much, fam. Thank you, Mission 24, for the kind offering and the super chat as well. Let me ask you this before we get on to the rest of the NBA for the rest of the show, my friend. When it comes to the Lakers, again, 1-1. I think we should be counting our blessings that they're 1-1 because at times it's really not look pretty. But again, it's 2 games in, Sean. So I don't want to go to too much on the overboard scheme. I know Search in the chats, you guys are all ready to break up the steam after 2 games. My gosh, this time last year, we were ready to fire Ham, fire Rob, fire everyone.
Gerald,
we were ready to blow up the UCLA Health Center.
We were 12 minutes away from this entire chat being bombarded with fire Ham,
exactly.
Fire Ham.
That was every other. Yeah, there was every other comment.
Basically, I think if Joe, if Joe could do it, he'd have the time. But man's busy. He's got fingers in 12 different pies. We appreciate the time it gives to us. So if me and Gerald went back through all the chats last year, I would bet that anywhere Gerald from, and it's going to be a little bit of a bigger number, but I think you might agree with the 10 to 15% of our chat We're devoted to Fireham.
Pretty much in that aspect. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can check it out now, people, if you want.
Yeah, go back and check, people.
That's the great thing about
We're
YouTube.
not lying about this. Yeah.
You can see it on YouTube. So that's the great thing about YouTube. Big shout out to you. And big shout out again to Mission 24, Intel Wild, and Dodgers
Gerald,
Everything for their kind chats.
This week is kind of, every game is important. Every game has a significance. It's 1 out of 82. It's division heavy this week. You play the Suns, you play the Kings, you play the Clippers. I want to see us win at least 2 out of those 3, Gerald. Hopefully all of them. But I'd like to see us win 2 out of 3. Our division record was so poor, Gerald. If it was even a little bit better, just a little bit better, the Lakers probably don't find themselves in 7th place. But they had problems with the Kings. They had problems with the Clippers. They had problems with the Suns. And they had problems with the Warriors. They got the Warriors, I believe, a couple times, and the Kings once or twice. But other than that, it was roughshod for us in the Pacific Division. So I want to see us match up against the division foes and get it as good as we got it last year. I mean, it needs to pick up a little bit because, and again, 5 teams from that division all made the playoffs. The Lakers were the last one standing, but they had to wait and see who they face. I don't think that the same story should play out this year. You got to win inside your division. I know there's no division banners put up. That's not what we do. But you got to play well against the teams you're trying to get above. Gerald, you're on mute.
Yeah, we got to get that albatross off our back when it comes to what we're seeing. Shut up, Joe. Got to get that albatross off our back when it comes to what we're seeing with the Clippers. So, yeah, that's definitely shut up, Joe. But when it comes, you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to shut up Joe right now. What's it? I can't hear you.
I already got it over you there,
Yeah.
Jerry.
All right. Yeah. Shut up. So when it comes to your Clippers that you keep talking about, I agree with you though that the Lakers have to go ahead and definitively win the series. They are relying heavily on their 2 aging, much injured superstars. Now everybody throws that line about us. I think the question is with the Clippers so far that I've seen this season, it's a lot about them. They don't have the roster, I think, that they once had. The deterioration in their rotation players is very evident. And I know, even though I was really rooting for Ivica Zubac, especially after a great first game, to see him fall back to earth, unfortunately, I really don't want to have Bill Simmons be right in saying that Zubac and Plumlee are the worst center duo in the league. But when you have that, Joe, with the Clippers, with the Kings, who are trying to outshoot everyone, where it takes 7 3-pointers for Curry in order to go ahead and win the game, and then you also have as well, what you see with Phoenix and how loaded up they're going to be when they finally get their guys healthy. It's going to be very interesting in the West, in the Pacific Division this year.
Well, the Kings are obviously going to continue to play the way they played last year. Their defense is not very good. Phoenix can play a little bit better defense, and Golden State as well, at least better than Sacramento. The situation with the competition at this point with the Lakers is there's really no team out there that's got both in terms of dominance. There's no team out there that has a dominant offense with a dominant defense. And the Lakers have, in my opinion, the best defensive player when he's on in the league. That's a good start. And then you have length, apparently now with Christian Wood. I don't think he can play the power game with his size, but he can distract a player like Kevin Durant. And that's in a lot of ways enough. And it was enough yesterday. More than anything, too, is that the Lakers have had issues the first couple games with spacing. They've had issues with making the correct pass. Their concentration hasn't been very good. The ball is slipping out of their hands, and when a ball is not in control, when you constantly see balls kind of flittering around because no one can catch it or no one can dribble it the right way, that means typically the players are thinking faster than their hands can work because they're worried about making a play. They're worried about getting into a flow. A lot of times that means that the chemistry isn't, the confidence and the chemistry of guys that you probably haven't played with isn't there yet. And that's the part that I am willing to wait for, obviously, especially for the newer guys. What I won't accept is open shots being missed 6 out of 7 times from a player we absolutely need to make those shots. Because I'm concerned about LeBron James. LeBron James had to play an entire quarter in the fourth quarter, and he had to play both offense and defense for 12 minutes. We can't do that again. We cannot do that again. And because of that, the reason for that is because you're not making your open shots. Even despite all this craziness with spacing and not being able to control the ball, you got to have it. You got to have it. That's it. You got to have it. If you don't have it, then you're not really going to benefit this team. We can't have the Lakers play the way they played in the Denver series. It won't work. Not against Denver. Not against a healthy Porzingis in Boston. Definitely not in Milwaukee. And that's the bottom line there, guys. It's just we have to figure this out. The Lakers have to figure this out probably within the first quarter of the season. And it would be nice because it is a tough schedule to begin with, which adds to the motivation to really try and take advantage of the fact that you're fresh right now to win as many games as you can now. That way, when you are a little beat up, your schedule's going to get a little bit better. Your travel is going to be limited. You're going to be in one time zone for like a month and change. This can be worked to your advantage if you can at least get some of these wins like on Sunday and Monday and start stockpiling the wins. The Lakers started 0-5 last year. And then they won 2 games, and then they lost 5 games in a row again. Imagine the difference. You start 3-1 instead of being 0-4 versus last year. You're already way ahead.
Hell, we started 0-6 against the division last year. We won a division game before November.
Now, the statistic that's amazing is the Lakers went to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think this has ever happened. I'd have to look. Modern basketball, maybe even before modern basketball, the Lakers were last in their division and they made it to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think that's ever happened before. That's pretty crazy. They were terrible. Last. They were last in their division and they still made it to the Western Conference Finals. The fact that they made it to the playoffs only adds to the freaking competitiveness of the Pacific Division. It's tough, guys. It is a tough conference, and the best division in sports is the NBA Pacific Division. Every single team in the Pacific made the playoffs last year. Pretty nuts.
One thing I want to ask, though, Z said it in the chat. Z keeps talking about the 5-out, and let me actually get her quote. Their 5-out principles are still whack right now, but I think by combining their 4-out and this 5-out, they'll eventually learn it. Magic Man, they're shooting 25% from beyond the arc. I don't care if you can play 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out. It doesn't matter. If you can't hit your shots, they're going to just stay in the key and let you shoot. Doesn't matter if you're 5-out, 4 out.
That's
or
why the
whatever out.
spacing is bad. That's why they can't make a bounce pass. That's why they can't handle the ball, because there's no room, because you're not letting them, you're not forcing them to give you room. Until that gets figured out on a consistent basis, you're going to have to rely on your superstars to play out of this world to win, which is fine, but just not now. Not during the regular season, at least half of the time. Help those guys by spreading that thing out, by making your damn shots, and then you can play that to some degree in the playoffs, because everything tightens up in the playoffs anyways. That's it.
I mean, Magic Man, have we seen someone hit a corner three for the Lakers yet? A corner three, which is statistically supposed to be the easiest of all the threes. Have we seen it?
Prince made 2
from the corner, not from the wing.
No, from the corner.
Okay, from the corner.
He made one early one.
Okay, because he's shooting 57%. He is the actual leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, he is. He is over AD.
I just want to make sure, because
like
I said,
no, he did, Gerald. He made one from the left corner, and then he made one from the right one in the second half.
You see my point. When you have to think about it, that's not good.
It's
not good at all.
It's not good, Gerald, and we've seen this before. We've seen it last year. Darvin Ham and LeBron really love that zoom action. So what'll happen is LeBron or Christian Wood or a big will come up and try and attempt to set a screen. D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent will curl around that, and you'll try and find a man either in the left wing or the right wing. They call this zoom because you want that player from the wing to get over there as fast as possible. Usually they're running while the ball is a skip pass. They shoot it in rhythm. Nobody's been able to do that except Prince, Gerald. They've tried it with Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent is 0 for 4 from the corners. They've tried it with LeBron. LeBron has not been shooting well from 3.
And dear God, when Cam Reddish throws it,
when Cam Reddish is in a zoom action, as me and Gerald have talked about, it's like watching somebody play water polo, not basketball.
Exactly. It's awful, man. It's so ugly.
It's bad. It's so bad. It is. So, you know what? In order to fix this, I think they need to go back to the well, Gerald, and man, just run those simple pick and roll screens. And LeBron learned his lesson in the fourth quarter, right, Gerald? He did not look for a corner pocket pass. I'm going to the hole.
I'm going to say this. Whose shot looks worse, Vander or Cam?
Cam's.
Stylistically,
Cam's looks worse.
Cam's looks worse than rookie year Lonzo Ball. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, Vando sometimes can look like it's like a straight line. It looks like Gerald was saying, it looks bad on the release.
But he looks good on defense. Intel hustles, versatile, ability to switch. We're not giving it, great on as far as on the break, very athletic. All that stuff is great. Got a knuckleball for a shot. Absolute knuckleball.
100%, Gerald. I think if we went to the judges, I think the best score you would get on that shot is, like a 3.5. The mechanics are awful.
Serge, you're telling me to chill on that, man. I'm telling you. I mean, this is something in AAU, Magic Man, that, if you see a kid that's like throwing up a knuckleball, get him to change it there and then.
Yes. Those shots typically don't go in.
Now, Ball's good now. Ball's before he blew out his knee, he was a 40% three-point shooter. He became a three-point. He worked hard and developed his game to go ahead. And now, before he had his unfortunate injury, Magic Man, he became a good three-point shooter.
He did, Gerald. He did. And there's been rare, but there's been cases of guys who've been able to fortify a 3-point shot. Jason Kidd couldn't hit a beach ball into the ocean early in his career. Managed to find a 3-point shot. I'm not confident that Reddish is in that same category, considering that this is the 5th year that we're seeing that really weird release. It's
a
like
broken shot.
it is.
It's
It's kind of like watching, one of those like Chad Bradford or one of those submarine pitchers. They just have like this really weird release, and it might be effective like analytically, but you actually watch it and it looks just choppy, Gerald.
I mean,
Just
Jamal Wilkes is probably the only one that has something anywhere near it where
mm-hmm,
it actually was effective to the point where it's something that smooth as silk.
mm-hmm,
Jamal
mm-hmm.
Wilkes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
this is
Absolutely. Yeah, no, Cam Reddish can't look. Cam Reddish is not Sean Marion. He's not going to be Marcus All. Those guys were very effective with very awkward shooting mechanics. And
Kevin Martin. Good show.
Kevin
Yeah, there you
Kmart,
go.
yeah,
Excellent, Dante. Yes.
yeah, Kmart was really great at Gerald. He used his wrist a lot,
Yeah.
like that flick. That's what made his release kind of effortless. Is he was more wrist. Um, and yeah, great. That's a good point. I would
So
say this, but
I don't see though it changing. That's the thing
I
that's
don't
gonna.
see it changing.
But
I
the
don't.
thing is, though, with a guy like Cam Reddish, like as I remember Jamie's line from a couple of weeks ago, he looks great when he gets out of or takes off the warm ups. He looks like a player. He looks like someone that could really go ahead and change the world. When he gets onto the court, it's a different story. So again, it's someone who's going to be very limited in his minutes. It's going to be someone who's going to probably at some times play some pretty good defense for us, probably do some good things in transition, but unfortunately, the fact is we were hoping that he can get to the point where he could be at least an average 3-point shooter to keep him out there longer. But that's going to be the problem, my friend. And he's always going to be at the mercy of a bad performance, losing a spot in the rotation simply as the fact that he has those shot issues. But these are the guys that, again, when you're on the minimum, that's what you get. They all have some sort of baggage that they have when they sign these minimum deals. So Joe, I ask you this again. And Search is ignoring me again because I'm trying to make a big deal. It's 2 games in, but we got to take a look at these guys and the rotation, Joe, and ask ourselves: these guys can play. A lot of these guys can play well, but somehow they got to just start gelling and maybe better coaching around them to give them a better platform to do things that will allow them to go ahead and play well together. Because, like you said, Joe, 5 out and 4 out are not going to help if you don't shoot well. So you got to build an offense around them that better suits their talents.
I don't want to mess with the starting lineup yet.
I wouldn't either.
But let's say if we go 10 games in and we're 5-5, which probably wouldn't be good, then you're probably going to just have to go for broke and start putting LeBron at the point and getting D'Lo off the bench. And you use, because this has worked before, you use Reeves at the 2. You'll probably have Torian, or if Vanderbilt's back in 2 weeks, you can use him as the 3. And then, I don't like changing the starting lineups unless it's absolutely necessary. That would have to
change
mean
more lineups than anybody else.
But see, that's the problem. Is continuity when it comes to starting lineup is important. You can go with a different lineup towards the end of the game, depending on the matchups. But starting lineup gives you a rhythm. It gives the bench guys a rhythm. It gives the starters a rhythm. We know now that Darvin Ham wants to play LeBron the first 6 minutes of the game. So you let him initiate the offense. You let him create this. Let him create the space. Let him have the IQ to create the offense, because really you don't have an offense. Darvin Ham doesn't have an offense. It's a LeBron-centric offense. It's like coaching Peyton Manning. Okay, Tony Dungy didn't have an offense either. He let Peyton Manning run the offense. Same thing with Caldwell. So, or even Jim Mora before him. So let's roll with it then. If you're planning on playing LeBron a limited amount of time, then maybe you might have to run into a situation where you just let him play point guard and let him initiate the offense the first 6 minutes of the first quarter, and then at that point, get a lead before LeBron sits, and then maybe sustain it or at least lose a few versus be in a deficit going into the second quarter. That's probably the next step if this particular starting lineup doesn't work, and it's not going to work if people are making the shots. If they're making their shots, then it'll work. Simple as that. It's not, again, rocket science. It's the NBA of 2024, or 2023, 2024. You have to make shots. You have to absolutely make shots, and you have to make your three-point shots to the point where you are allowing your offense and your defense to settle into a rhythm and settle into good positioning. I feel like I've said this a few times.
You have.
Yes, and I'm kind of getting tired of saying it. And I'm getting tired of saying it because no one's listening. You keep telling me wait. Okay, I'll wait. But we still had 2 games where guys aren't doing their job. And I'm not even asking them to, I told you guys, I'm not asking them to shoot 40%. Can we shoot 30%? Not 17%? Really? You did all this summer stuff to shoot 5 3-pointers out of 31 shots? And you're asking me, Joe, wait, oh. No, that's unacceptable. Do better.
You're rounding up. Joe's doing the Lakers a favor too. He's actually rounding up. That's less than 17%.
But yeah, but I think there were 17 though, 17 and a half, I think, yesterday. But their total for 2 games is 25%, just to let everybody know. But Magic Man, the name that's been tossed around in our chat room, the best Lakers chat room that's out there, is Max Christie. I understand, it's like when we don't like something, immediately we need to change it to something else. I don't think Reddish has been playing bad at all. And don't let me get the wrong outside of his 3-pointers. Again, the whole team has been shooting outside of Prince really bad on 3-pointers, and also Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis only taken 4. Thank goodness. But I'm asking this right now. When it comes to Max Christie, why is he not there in the first place? I think a lot of it is due to the confidence that he lost during the course of how he played in the preseason. However good he played in Summer League, he just did not have it in preseason. I know he's a big support. Rodell's a big supporter, as he's mentioned to us several times in the Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. But the reason why Reddish is playing ahead of Max Christie at this point in time, bigger body, more versatile, and just could really hang with the guards that he's trying to defend against a little bit better than Max right now. Max may be a little bit, he's 6'6", but he's very slight of build. And if you got to be quick, if you're going to be slight of build, be quick and be able to shoot that 3-pointer consistently to make up for it.
100%, Gerald. You want to be a great point of attack defender today in the NBA. As Gerald noted, you need 2 quality characteristics. One, like Gerald said, quickness. You need to be able to get to a certain spot at a certain time and push somebody off their spot. Gerald, yes, a lot can be made of, Kevin Durant was guarded by blah, 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 blah last night. Reddish pushed him off his spots, made it very difficult for KD to get comfortable in rhythm. Yeah, he had 39 points. He's one of the
scored
greatest
over him.
scorers. One of the greatest scorers of all time.
Yeah.
But you have to make things as uncomfortable as possible, and that's what he did. He tried to knock him off his spots. He tried to beat him to his spots. Didn't always work, but Gerald, Cam Reddish stayed aggressive. No matter how, if KD shot over him, he stayed aggressive. We wouldn't see that from Max Christie. I'll do respect to Max.
Durant would bully ball him.
He would, and that could be, as Gerald has said, crushing defeat to his confidence, and that would be in front of a large group of people as well. So I think that Gerald, as much as they're trying to win, they're also trying to develop somebody who's, as you've stated, very fragile mentally right now. Very fragile mental. He must feel like when his number is called now, he's literally walking on eggshells when he goes out there. And I don't want him to have that attitude, because his 3-point shot has actually improved. He, in the summer league and combination of the preseason, he was up around 37%, Gerald. Bigger issue for Max is his shooting percentage is less than 40%. And so if he's not hitting threes, what else is he doing out there offensively? I mean, at least Reddish, we know, Gerald, we complimented Christian Wood for his weak side rebounding. When Reddish was out there, he was pretty good on the boards as well. I just think it's a combination of what Gerald has said, that Reddish is just a better point of attack defender. He's longer than him. He's staying aggressive. He's more hard-nosed on the boards. I just think, Max is going to have to be put in a situation where, as Joe has stated, Max looks comfortable when he's playing with the starters rather than the bench. Now, obviously, that's a combination of confidence, trying to be high, being ready, and it's also a part of maturing as a basketball player. It doesn't matter who you're playing with; you should be able to excel in any lineup, and that's just not the case with Christie, Gerald. And it's up to him to figure it out, because the coaching staff would be perfectly willing to put him in there if he has the confidence and he's willing to stay aggressive. But as Gerald has pointed out, his confidence is kind of like a Fabergé egg. Yeah, when it's on display, it's a beautiful thing, right, Gerald?
Yep.
But if you drop it, it breaks.
Or in the case of, what was it, Ocean's 12, they just went ahead and they just made a 3D replica of it.
Not bad, Gerald.
That's actually the best of the Ocean movies, by the way. Ocean's 12. I really like that one. You like 11 more, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
No, 11's good. 12 is better. I
agree with Gerald.
11 is
13 is a disappointment. 13
11
is
is a masterpiece.
Pacino got too corny in 13. 11's good. 12's better.
Who really
he got too. That's too Pacino.
And then the response from George Clooney was like,
yeah.
Why are you putting George Clooney face to face with Al Pacino?
You shook Sinatra's hand. Yeah, exactly. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, talking about the rest of the NBA now before we finish up the show here. Any interesting teams stick out to you? Because there's a couple or interesting players. What sticks out to you so far this season from the rest of the NBA?
I'm worried about Milwaukee. I know they're in the East, but I'm worried about them being really, really good. I would watch Milwaukee throughout the year. Boston, Porzingis is going to really help them. But I want to see Jaylen Brown and Tatum play like $300 million men in Game 7 instead of faltering. That's they're going to have to prove they can do that before I believe that they will. But Milwaukee's going to be a problem. And as far as Denver squeaked the win today against Memphis. But I guess I don't have a good enough assessment yet from based off the games that I've seen to justify, oh my God, we're going to have to, it's going to be very tough, or we're not going to have a chance, those type of things. We got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's still a formidable duo. And it's an issue, especially if they're healthy. And then at that point, you're going to have to deal with them, especially towards the end of the game.
One of the things that has stood out to me so far, Sean, is the play of Chet Holmgren, who's emerging right now as the early leader for Rookie of the Year. I know Miller and Charlotte is playing above his head. Just early. I said early leader. Emerging, yes. Well, great game today. If you got a chance to check it out, I saw some of the game footage there. 16 points, 13 rebounds, 7 block shots. He might be looking more Victor Wembanyama right now than Victor Wembanyama is
I
right
think
now.
Victor's had amazing 2 games to start the season.
I had
Oh
struggled
my
in that
god!
first half.
Oh my
In that first
god!
game.
That lob tonight. Yeah, Vassell's at the top of the wing there, and Victor's asking for it. He's running towards the rim, Gerald doesn't see him, so he just sticks out his arm. Just sticks up his arm like this. Grabs the
21
ball.
points, 12 rebounds, 3 block
Just
shots. Not too shabby at all.
not too shabby.
3 steals too.
Gerald,
Still cannot find a shot from the outside, but if that comes, my gosh, watch out.
as me and Joe were doing some channel surfing for NBA, we happened to come across an old familiar Laker who played very well tonight, Gerald. Alex Caruso just happened to hit the game winner for the
Hero
Chicago
ball.
Bulls tonight against my hometown Toronto Raptors. Raptors were up 103-101 with about 10 seconds left. Inexplicably, Spicy P went up for a shot, Gerald, in front of Alex Caruso. And Gerald, we know what happens when you just have the ball exposed like a loaf of bread in front of Alex Caruso. It's just gonna take it from you.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy's a steel maker. Used
Yep.
to always be great with the steals.
Yep, and good on Zach LaVine, Gerald. He might have gotten that little bit of selfishness, streakiness that he has in him, but he saw Alex Caruso open in the corner, Gerald. Found him. Alex caught it. Bucket.
Talk about it. Well,
2.3 seconds left. Alex was clutch. Gerald finished with a game high plus 29, 13 points, 13 rebounds. 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He out-rebounded his own teammate, Nikola Vucevic, by 1 board in less. Yes, he did, Joe.
Yep.
Yes, he did, Joe. Vuce played 40 minutes. Caruso played 32. He's a player of the game. In other action, Gerald, Memphis is going to desperately need to find out who can close for them. Because in these 2 games, Gerald, it's not looking good. They have a lot of talent and a lot of wing talent. But the fact of the matter is that Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose are only good for so long, Gerald. You can get about 15 minutes out of each of them max of great point guard play. They're going to struggle mightily until Ja comes back.
The Bulls, though, when you talk about the Bulls, Sean, I mean they won by 1 point, close game on a buzzer beater by Alex Caruso after a closed door meeting in Game 1 over a mediocre team that they had played in Game 2. These are not good signs, and that's just something you want to keep in mind because as we get closer to December and January, if it's not looking good in Chicago, a lot of vultures will be circling around the Chicago Bulls.
Oh yeah, couple of keen minds in our own family are watching that situation. Daryl, both Joe and Dante want to see the Lakers pilfer the hen house for a couple perimeter defenders, maybe.
The thing is, though, will that make you mad or will that make you glad that Caruso, if he were to be traded back? The mad that we let him go in the first place, kind of like mad at Rob Pelinka. Okay, you trade in the car because you don't think it's what you need. Then you realize it's what you need when you don't have it, and then you have to pay substantially more for it when you get it back.
Yeah, that's the kick in the gut.
That's admitting you made a mistake.
Yes, of course.
Who cares?
Some people are petty enough to care, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a crap what people think.
Although if he goes on the trade block, it's a bitter frenzy.
Going to be a lot of suitors.
Get him over here. Don't worry about it.
The Lakers don't have enough to get him, though.
I want DeMar DeRozan, too. He had a freaking game tonight. LaVine was absolutely horrid the entire game. They were lucky he passed the ball out, and he was probably recognizing that he was stinking. I think his plus minus was like 23 or something.
He was awful.
He was awful. But
So was Zach
he made the
Levine.
assist of the night though. So I don't know if Chicago is gonna hit the ground hard like we hope they will, but we'll see.
If their feet, if they're right now, their feet hit the skids. Looking at a couple of dislocated ankles. A players only meeting after one game. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? You had all of the summer, all of training camp, you're together all the time. And
What if they didn't win tonight?
Oh my
God! They won by 1 point.
It's too early.
Something's wrong there in Chicago. I'm going to tell you that right now. When you're already having a players meeting after game one,
there's been very little, pretty much no stability at the top of that organization.
I hear you. When it comes to Orlando, though,
Billy Donovan, Fred Hoiberg, the inexplicable hire of Jim Boylan, Gerald, a college coach who never coached a game in the NBA, was brought into their organization. So it's been a mess. And honestly, I don't think people like basketball fans like Joe and Dante and yourself should be surprised at all. I mean, we had a great Bulls reporter, Jordan Hicks, on, and Jordan Hicks basically said it, Gerald. The Bulls spent a lot of money and draft capital to acquire Vooch and to get Lonzo, and now they have to pay the piper now that things haven't worked out. Just to be mediocre.
At best.
It was good for 50 games, and that was 3 years ago, Gerald. It seems like so long ago.
I will say, though, that it's interesting to see how that will play out. We're going to keep our eye on it. Just again, if the things go the way that they're going for both the Lakers and the Bulls and other teams as well. Joe, are you more surprised at the 2-0 start for Orlando or Dallas?
Orlando.
They played two pretty patsy teams in Houston and Portland.
Well, Orlando's a patsy team too, so the fact that they're 2-0 means something in their case. I wouldn't mind them being undefeated when the Lakers play them on Monday. That'd be kind of fun to break that. But it's too early, guys. It's 82 game season.
Yep.
There's plenty of crappy teams that start 2-0, and I just have never heard a players only meeting after one game. I don't think the Bulls are going to be that bad as long as there aren't any major injuries. I think they can very easily at least play 500 ball. So I don't know. And even if they do hit the skids, they're going to be able to get value for a DeRozan, especially since he's an expiring contract, or a Caruso.
Pat Williams too, because they didn't.
Pat Williams.
Yeah, they gave him an extension.
I think Levine would be the ideal trade option because he's got such a long contract. Somebody would need to. The Bulls would have to say, "Look, DeMar DeRozan is done after this season, so it's not imperative to trade him because he's done, right? Unless you want to get something for him. Okay, I'll buy that. Caruso doesn't make that much money to really be a problem. He's making just under $10 million a year. Same thing with Patrick Williams. Lonzo Ball's got one more year on his contract next year, and then he's off. And then you just brought in Vucevic. I don't see what the reasoning would be to get rid of him. So I think if anyone's going to get traded, if this thing hit the skids in Chicago, it's probably going to be Zach LaVine because he has 3 years left on his contract. He's making $43 million, almost 46 the following year. And his last player option year, he's going to be making just under $49 million. So that right there, that player would be the one where they're going to try to get rid of. And you don't have to probably give up too much draft capital or whatever trade players that you need to put together. Which let's just have some fun with it. Let's be Laker Tom for the next 2 minutes. God help us all. If they wanted to get rid of Zach LaVine and they wanted to trade him to LA, it would work out for Chicago to give them some first round picks and then give them, let's say, a D'Angelo. Who else would we give them? I don't think they'd want Rui's contract because that extends for another couple of years. But we need to find a couple more expiring contracts in our deals to make that happen. I don't know if we have that. Actually, I have to look.
I don't think we do, Joe.
No, we don't.
Because
So
Gabe's is 3 and
yeah.
Vandos is 4.
Yeah.
So
So we would be. Unfortunately, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in terms of that situation.
once again, it's the Lakers fast break. Truly appreciate
Unless they
it.
wanted talent too. Okay. Yeah. What if they want Austin Reeves, right? He's making 12. I don't know. My common sense detector says they can get better deals elsewhere. And there's got to be a team out there that really, really needs someone like a DeRozan or a Zach LaVine, somebody like Philly.
Do you think somebody else? Go ahead, Sean. I'm going to get you into this. Do you think somebody else will get desperate for Harden outside the Clippers?
The Lakers.
It's very possible.
Man, are you listening to Kendrick Perkins? Dear God.
Nobody listens to Kendrick Perkins, Gerald.
That's what he just said today.
I know. And I responded to Nick the same way I respond on the chat here. A meme with somebody vomiting. I mean, that's basically what it would come down to. Terrible trade. It wouldn't work out well for either party.
Because you'd have to give up 2 players for him.
Correct. That's correct. And
he doesn't. And he makes your defense on the backcourt decidedly worse.
Decidedly worse.
And we'd have to stare at him every game, and I don't want to stare at him because his face bothers me.
That's the biggest key right there. Yeah, okay. Well, it's
that's what I said.
That dude has more things in his beard than John the Baptist. So yeah, I agree with Joe in that case.
Okay. You talked about my line. Well, how long you been waiting to use that line?
It looks like something that smells like cheese and vegetable oil.
Oh my god. That's terrible. What? Oh my gosh.
Gerald, we have to be honest here. It looks like he does not bathe.
Yeah, that's on you guys. I'm not even going to go into that. That's another person right there. I'm not going to go ahead and start going off on his bathing habits or his.
Well, his hygiene. We know his hygiene is not up to par, Gerald.
Okay.
You will literally wear a fat suit to try and prevent yourself from not being able to play. I could eat 4 porterhouse steaks and not have the gut that guy had. The game before he was traded to the Brooklyn Nets. So yeah, we'll stop it there. But if you want to hear more about our ramblings on James Harden, please check out Playback TV on Wednesday because we will have a lot of jokes about James Harden and the Clippers.
I'm pretty sure you will. Again, that's playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Join us on Sunday night, 6 p.m. for Sacramento versus the Lakers. Then on Monday, when the Lakers return home against the Orlando Magic. Don't forget, though, we've got tomorrow in the morning, because they want to do it in the morning. That's, of course, Lakerholic Spotlight with Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet. I kind of like the Saturday afternoon thing. I thought that was a really good time. A lot of people were awake and only meandering through college football, but they want to do it in the morning, so they're doing it tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Search Destroy. Gerald does plead the fifth. I try to plead the fifth too when we're on playback. I let these guys go at it on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. But guys, great episode. An hour and a half. We were able to go ahead and chat about the Lakers and the NBA. Again, it's just 2 games. Or as Laker Tom will say, it's just 1 game, Gerald. It's just 1 game. But, we've got some early observations. That's why I even prefaced the show with saying it's very early observations. But Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
No.
Sean?
We're only a Caruso away.
David or Alex?
What's that meme with the Wolverine looking at a picture and then the next picture is Alex Caruso? That's us, by the way.
Hey, Sovereign, welcome. Good to have you back. Hopefully, all
Sovereign.
with
Oh
you.
my God, I haven't seen him or her in a while. Is it a male, female? I don't know.
Yep, Sovereign. Great to have you back in the chat. We've seen a lot of new faces and a lot of returning faces since the start of the
Sovereign's a
Lakers
Y,
season.
not an X, Joe.
Okay, fair enough indeed. Mass Effect fan Sovereign is, so as you can tell by me, so am I. But great to have you here. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We will be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., much to my chagrin. I may not be awake for it, but somebody will be here. That will be.
I will be here. I will be here.
I'll give you permission to fall asleep while those two argue with each other tomorrow. How about that?
I would probably love a cat nap when that happens, Gerald.
Yes.
They'll probably still be arguing by the time I woke up.
That's fine. As long as the audience is entertained, that's all that matters. So
that's the only thing that matters. That's correct.
Yeah. Bloodhound, yes, 10 a.m. in the morning. That's what they want to do. I like the 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I thought that was a great time for everyone involved, including you. But they said they got some things to do. And, Tom said, I'll do it then. And Jamie said, I got it, 10 a.m. All right. So it is what it is. All right. So you're going to get Lakerholic Spotlight tomorrow. Joe, there he is. Monkey Me, there you go. You shook Sinatra's hand. You shook Sinatra's hand.
I didn't. My friend shook Bill Cosby's hand.
Did he wash it afterwards? I hope so.
It was years ago,
though. That's probably the time that you may have. Oh, never mind. All right. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. It's Gerald Glassford.
I saw it with my own eyes, too. It was right there.
Yeah. Okay. But it's the Lakers Fast Break.
Did you have a Coke in your hand too, Joe?
No.
You know what? Laker Tom will probably have his 10 a.m. Coke, all ready to go.
To quote
Coke
Richard
at
Pryor,
10 in the morning.
Bill Cosby has a problem with your comedy, Eddie. Tell him to have a smile and a Coke and two.
Well, there you go, indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Darren says, I will have a Bloody Mary with Laker Tom. Something will be bloody. Maybe it'll be our ears, but we'll find out between Jamie and Laker Tom. Will they be arguing? Who knows? But we'll find out. We'll set it up for you at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Pacific time. But for now, we're hoping everybody has a great Lakers weekend. And for Magic Man, Sean Grice, Joe Soro, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe. And don't forget to check us out all weekend long right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for being in the chat. The best Lakers chat room that's out there, the Lakers Fast Break.
Dance,
You're off your rhythm tonight, Joe.
I'm laughing at some of the posts.
Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.